I'm so dedicated to my destination. I'ma get it how I live it with no hesitation. See me making moves, and all this training proves that I'm possible.
Hey guys, this is Micah Lancaster and welcome to the MLXT YouTube channel. We're going to dive into our beginners program and we're going to look at a beginner set of footwork of a skip to a jump stop. But as we dive into this even more, what you're going to see is that even a jump stop can have some advanced complexities that kids at early ages need to develop. Let's go ahead and start. Now we've gone over speed stops and 1-2s in our program, but we haven't quite touched on skips and jump stops, which we're going to do now. But the biggest thing to focus on is making sure that players simply know how to do it all. We don't want to be picky or decide which one is right and which one is wrong. We need to, especially at the young ages, expose players to the multiple skills, because bottom line is the game is going to choose a lot of this for us. There's times to use speed stops and times to use jump stops. And really, when we're going over jump stops, I often find that just because it seems like a beginner concept, people don't go into enough detail. So we're actually going to be able to focus on multiple jump stops in this process. Now, the jump stop we're working on right now is off of a skip. Now, a skip means I'm going to plant my inside foot. So if I was dribbling with my right hand, my inside foot would be my left foot, and I'm going to skip or transition off this foot to another set of footwork. And so right now, I'm going to skip into a jump stop. Now, the grip mat is right now going to represent where I'm landing. And so that means my skip has to happen directly before it. Now, a jump stop is not something where I'm trying to cover a lot of space. That would be what we call a pro hop. And so I don't want you to do it from way out here and then cover a bunch of space to land. And so the whole idea of a jump stop right now is to cover minimal space, which is one of the weaknesses of it, which is why sometimes we'd want to stop at the speed stop because I saved more space, because a jump stop's going to inevitably take me forward. But with that in mind, we don't want to take us too far forward. And so right now, if you can skip before the grip mat and then jump stop and land on the grip mat, and you can do that close to it, you're minimizing the space that you have to cover for it. Now, one of the most important things about training young players when you're giving them a certain set of footwork, and that footwork has a right and a wrong to it, right? So I want to be able to skip off my inside foot, and I want to be able to land in my jump stop. The activity is relatively simple, but if you give them random space, a lot of times that can be difficult. So what I want you to understand, and when I say difficult, I mean difficult to learn in a way that lasts, because the space of the game needs to be controlled. And so that's why we use a grip mat in this instance, where we put a grip mat on the floor, give them a destination, and then get them used to driving to the point where they know exactly how to land in that space of the floor. And now they're learning how to control their space, skipping into a jump stop, landing right where they want to land, and you're giving them a whole lot more than just footwork. You're giving them the understanding of space and their ability to control the environment of the game. And so right now, you just want to get good at, whether or not I'm backing up with 2 dribbles or not, that my inside foot comes close to it, and then I can complete my pickup with a jump stop. Now, as we know with a jump stop, we want to land on 2 feet at the same time. We want to be intentional. And as long as you're intentional, the referees give you the benefit of the doubt. We don't want to be lazy and land staggered, because then we can't pivot off of either pivot foot. And so the power of our jump stop is, now that I landed, I of course can pivot any way that I want. Right now we're just focused on jump stops, and I would prefer jump stops right now into shots to get more shot reps. If you want to do jump stops for layups, feel free, but I think those jump stops for layups at the basket, unless you're in the middle of the paint, are becoming more and more rare because they're just simply too slow. And so right now, might as well get some shot reps, but the ending is completely up to you. So if I start with my drive, I have 2 dribbles. Working on my dribble step timing, I would have left foot, and then I'd have my second dribble be on my left foot again, and now I can pick it up, jump stop, and shoot. And so we just want to rep that action out for about 10 to 15 minutes, if not more of your time. And so I have my 2 dribbles, jump stop, pick up, and then let that shot go. And so that's our jump stops. And of course, we want to be able to go both ways. So if I was driving the other direction, and now would be my right foot being my skip, which is my inside foot, and I'm completing the pickup as I land. And so take your time to rep out your jump stops going both directions, and make sure that the jump stop footwork is also in your game. And now that we've learned a skip to a jump stop, which is the relatively normal way that players would learn, where they're skipping off of their inside foot in rhythm, now we have to introduce them to the opposite timings of the game, which we'd call inverted skips. See, we can't always get into a rhythm off of our inside foot. There's going to be times where I'm going to be in between steps, and I still got to be able to flow into a jump stop, which we'd call inverted skips. Now, advanced level, yes, but a lot of times when people look at jump stops, they would just say it's all beginner. but I want to show you how even a jump stop can start getting to an advanced level, and I'd want young players to learn this as early as possible. Let's take a look. Now we've worked on our jump stop off of a skip, but the jump stop is more advanced if you really think about other timings where you can access to it. And so another way that I could do it would be with an inverted skip. Now, if you're not familiar with that phrase or that term, let me just explain that inverted simply means opposite. So whenever we're dealing with players in our language, anytime we say inverted just simply means the other foot or the opposite foot. And so if the inside foot is my normal skip, that means inverted must be my outside foot. And so it's easier to have that language rather than just always trying to say left rights and right lefts. And so if I was driving to the right, my inverted skip would be my outside leg. And so think about this timing as an example. If I want to get to that spot of the floor, but I just did my dribble, in order to get there with a jump stop would require me jumping there, which would be a pro hop. If I want to cover a little bit more space, as we know about dribble step timing, that I usually would take a step in between before I dribble again. And so an inverted skip is actually skipping off of the step that happens in between our dribbles. And so I'd have my two dribbles, and then the step occurs in between, and instead of dribbling again, I simply perform my jump stop. Now, a lot of kids know how to do skips to jump stops, but very few know how to do inverted skips to jump stops. And if you can do it at both timings, now you're really ready to play this game and respond to space and moments. Since we're on the actual topic of training beginners, grades 1 through 4, what I want you to understand is that this whole idea of advanced versus beginner is all about the details. See, I'm on a beginner topic, and so this one would fly. People would understand why I'm doing jump stops. But when you get to the actual details of skips and inverted skips, what you realize is when detail is brought into the so-called beginner things, they can actually become quite advanced. And so this can actually challenge even advanced players, even though it's just a jump stop, because we're messing with the timing of the game and the rhythm of the game. So as you try to throw inverted skips into the mix, just remember that the amount of detail that you put into this is going to determine how difficult and how advanced it actually is. But like I've talked about, this is about challenging beginners at a level that even they can handle, but at the same time, experience actual challenge and actual timing of the real game. And so the way that I want you to do this is really back your space up. You have two dribbles towards your spot, leaving enough room where you know you can still squeeze one more step in before you pick up the basketball to then complete your jump stop. And so this can be a little bit more awkward, and it can be a little harder than it seems. And so my right foot would be my skip in order to land in my jump stop. So I have my two dribbles, inverted skip, and then my landing. Now that's not a travel. We don't need to get into the rules right now, but the ball is simply flowing up. I plant the foot, and I complete my stop. Now if I'm going left, I obviously need to know that my inverted skip is going to be my left foot. I complete my two dribbles. That step happens in between, and then I skip and I land into my jump stop. And so spend some time, 15 minutes or so on inverted skips to jump stops. You can go shots or finishes, whatever you choose, but make sure that you're going full speed and attacking this footwork. And that wraps up another workout with MLXT's YouTube channel. We're obviously dealing with beginners, and hopefully as you look in this and you start to really understand how we're dealing with beginners, we're throwing them in the fire in a lot of different ways. Beginner concepts at times, but details that will last and really stick with them forever. The last thing we ever want to do for players is teach them something that they have to unlearn later. I don't want to give them a fake version of basketball. I want to give them the real thing. So if they have to be able to perform things, certain things at different levels in college and professionally, and that's where their dream is, then those are the types of details they need to get early on. The level in which they're able to perform it is not our concern. Our concern is making sure that they can at least attempt it and they know exactly what they're trying to achieve in the game of basketball. And so these are ways we can start getting beginners to reach new heights. Even if they're doing relatively simple things like jump stops, we can show them different timings and show them how they can get off their inside foot or their outside foot to achieve different spaces and really understand the jump stop at a deeper level. If you like content like this and you want to go ahead and stay connected to our YouTube channel, make sure that you like, make sure that you comment, make sure that you're subscribed, and of course, ring the notification bell so you don't miss next week's workout, which is coming right here at this exact same day and time. I'll see you guys next week for MLXT's YouTube channel.